Hey everybody, this is Games Plus James and welcome back to our Endless Runner Unity tutorial series. Now, previously we added some menus to the game and now we're going to add a little bit of sound to make it seem a little bit more lively and a little bit more like a real game basically. So, to start we're going to create a new folder in our assets folder here. So we're going to right click create folder, which will be our audio folder. And then I've got a few audio files here, and they'll be linked in the description down below. But if you want to create your own sound effects, of course, you're more than welcome to do that. I use a program called BFXR, which is free and it's super handy. I recommend checking it out. I used it in my 2D platformer series, which I created before. So if you want to check out the episode where I look at sound effects in that one, you'll see the basics of creating simple little sounds yourself. But these ones are here now for easy use. So we've got a coin sound effect, a sound effect for when we die, and a sound effect for when the player jumps. So we just drag them into our audio folder in here. And we used to have to make some changes to the audio files when they're brought in, but they've actually changed that in Unity now. So it's kind of handy that they're fairly well set up to start off with. So we can literally in our hierarchy here, we're going to create an empty game object that we're just going to call sound effects. And we're going to drag the 3Ds guys just into the hierarchy here, but not on top of anything else, because if you drag them on top of another object, they'll be attached to the object. So say if I drag this coin onto sound effects here, you'll see it's added as a component to sound effects. It doesn't create it as a separate object. So I'll just remove that there now. And we want to make, now that we have the three of them in here, now we can drag them onto sound effects and they become child objects of that. So that's perfect. That's just what we want to happen. But for all three of them, they're all set by default to play on awake. And we don't want that. We don't want when we start our game, like right now. Once it goes, there we go. We had like a whole bunch of sounds all happen at once. And that's not what we want to happen at all. That's no use to us. That's no good. So what we want to do is disable play and awake on them just by pressing that. So now they won't play unless we tell them to play. So how do we tell them to play? Obviously, we need to do that when we're through our scripts. So we go into our scripts folder, and so we're doing sound effects for when you collect a coin, and for when the player dies and when the player jumps. So the player dying and player jumping are handled by our player controller script, so we're going to open that one up, and then also our coins are being handled by our pick up points script. So as soon as Monitor opens here, we're going to open that one up too, and that's what we're going to use to get our coin sound effects. But we'll deal with the player first. So basically what we need to do on our player controller is we need to create a reference to these two new sounds that we're going to use. So down here we'll just say not private, we need public so that we can attach them in the Unity editor. So public audio source, and we call the first one our jump sound, and the second one we'll call public audio source, we'll say death sound. So literally all we have to do to make these work in the game is make them play at the exact moment that we want them to. So down here, here is where we have our input that got key down, and we're checking for space. So this is where we're jumping, and then this is where we're double jumping. So these are our two places that we want to put our jump sound effect. So what we do is, just after we do that little bit of code there, we just say jump sound dot play. We put our little open close brackets because it's a function, and that's literally all we have to do for that one. And just copy the exact same thing down here, and we'll save that. And now if we pop back into Unity, just let it compile down in the corner here, and then we'll go to our player game object, scroll down, and we see we've got two slots for jump sound and death sound. So we'll drag these guys in here, so jump into there and death into there. I'm going to rename these to jump sound death sound and coin sound, because we don't want to create any kind of conflicts later on. Obviously there's not going to be an object called jump, but I don't know, maybe we create an enemy called death or something. But definitely we have coins being used as an object themselves, so we don't want to create any kind of naming confusion. So we want to make sure that our coin sound is called coin sound. So yeah, so we hooked up our jump sound, so let's test that out. If we hit play and start jumping around the place, there we go, we've got a nice little jump sound going on, and we died. Okay, so now immediately once you put a jump sound effect in, it makes the fact that there's no sound when you run into a coin, it makes it feel immediately like, oh god, I really need a sound effect there to make it feel better. So we're going to look at that in a second, but first we're going to do our death sound effect. So much like we did with our jump sound, our death sound is literally just down here when our player hits the kill box, and we go back to restarting the game. All the stuff is reset, and we just want to play down here, death sound dot play, just like that. So we're going to save that, and just to test it out, because we always want to test things and make sure that your scripts work as you do them. So we hit play here. We know we've already hooked up the death sound with our player. So now as we jump and run, there we go, we get a nice little effect just to say that we've died. Okay, so now we come to adding the coin sound effect. And the coin sound effect is going to be a little bit different, because we can't just directly hook this coin sound effect onto our coins that are going to be generated. We could do that, but that's really bad practice, because if you start using different scenes, if you start using the same prefab in different scenes, then all of a sudden this coin sound effect won't be hooked up in different levels, and that's just not going to work out for anybody. So we need our coins, as soon as they're instantiated, to find this coin sound, and then it knows that it's okay, that's the one I need to play. So when I'm collected by the player, I will play my sound. So on our pickup point script, we'll obviously need a reference to that coin sound effect. So we'll just say this time it'll be private, because we don't need to drag and drop it in the Unity editor. So it'll be private audio source, and we'll just call this coin sound. And so basically, like I said, we want to find that coin sound effect in the world. And basically, we can't just do a search by the audio source script, because these other two guys also have the audio source attached to them. So that's not going to be any use to us. So we need to search by the exact name that we're using for our coin sound effect. So basically what we'll say is, okay, coin sound is equal to game object with a capital G dot find coin sound. And we need to make sure that coin sound here is the exact same as what it is here. And basically what that does is just says search for any game object in the world that is named, or that has the name coin sound. Very straightforward. But the problem with just using this little bit of code is that our coin sound is an audio source. It's not a game object. So we need to find that coin sound game object, and then on that thing that we find, we need to get the component, or not get type, sorry. We need to get the component that is the audio source, to make sure that we're getting the exact same piece that is on our that our coin sound is. So now we'll automatically find that coin sound. So that's perfect. And the basics of what we want to do then is, when the player runs into the coin, it should just go coin sound dot play. There is a little error this throws up, but we're going to fix that in a second. But we'll just show it in action first. So now if we wait for that to compile down here in the bottom right, there we go. And now if we hit play and start running and start collecting some coins, whoop, so So it's working, obviously. We've got our sounds activating. And our coin sound effect is actually working perfectly fine. But there is a slight little... I suppose there's a little bit of a bug that I've encountered with Unity myself. Where if you've got a bunch of coins being collected really, really quickly, sometimes it'll skip over the sound effect of one or two of them. So say once our speed starts getting really fast and we're collecting a bunch of 3 coins in a row, it might only play the sound of one coin being picked up rather than the nice little bling you kind of get when you pick up a few of them. So what we want to do is very straightforward, is just say in here, if our coin sound, and we know what our coin sound is, and so basically coin sound dot is playing, and that's just a way of checking if a particular audio source is playing at the moment. So if coin sound, if it's already playing, what we want it to do is stop playing and then start again. So coin sound dot stop. Oh, and we need our semicolon at the end, and then coin sound dot play, and we need a semicolon again there. And so basically, yeah, if the coin is already playing, we need the coin sound to stop and we need it to start playing again. And then basically you just want to say else. So if the coin sound isn't playing, then we want the coin sound to just play and not have to worry about trying to stop the sound at the same time. So there you go, perfect. That's all we want to do with our coin sound. We pop back in here, and although we didn't run into that problem, we obviously want to check and make sure that code still works perfectly fine for us. And then we can hit play. We can start jumping. Oh, well, we're not going to do very well collecting coins like that. So there we go. We get a nice sound of our coins being picked up. We've got a little jumpy sound effect, and we've got a nice little death sound effect as well. So that's the basics of adding sound to your game, and you can use the same kind of idea to add, say, music to your game. So if we just drag one of these in here, so say for example, just the coin sound, if we let it play on awake and also loop it, it'll just constantly keep going. So if we just play here, so obviously, I'm going to stop this now because that will get very annoying very quickly. But if you've got like a 2-minute sequence of music, that's all you want. You just want it to keep looping and playing over and over again as your character runs through this little world. So that's how you would add just a very basic little background music to your game too. We're not going to worry about doing that now because it's very straightforward. And we'll take a look at it at another point in the future, I think. So, yes, that's how we add sound effects to our game and add a little more zazz and a bit more life to the game that we're making and having a little bit of fun here with. So thanks for watching this episode. I'll be back soon with more Endless Runner goodness in the very near future, and I'll hopefully one day get good at this game that we're making. Thanks for watching. I'll see you very soon. Goodbye. Thanks for checking out this episode, and if you want even more Games Plus James goodness, make sure you hit those subscribe and like buttons. You can also find me on Twitter and Facebook by following the links on screen, where you can find out all the latest news about the channel. And if you want to help support the show, check out the Patreon page, where you can get exclusive content in return for helping make the channel even better. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.